So Tree Doe is a friend, a colleague. He's a marketing strategist, a designer, creative director, a business owner, and leader based in Sydney, Australia. He's helped me to completely rebrand my own company, and he's become a close friend in the process. And he's just one of the more thoughtful people that I know, and really, really smart. And he's really learning all the time. And every time I talk to him, he's got some new thing he's working on, something he's thinking about deeply. And so we're at the end of the week, and I was thinking, what do I want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about what I learned this week. So I decided to kind of surprise Tree today with a request, which was hop on. Let's record a quick conversation reflecting on one thing we each learned this week, since it's the end of the week, and what are we going to carry into the next week. And this is our conversation. How are you?
Not bad.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
So far, so good. Yeah. Well, I mean, Friday is just middle of the week for me.
So if Friday's the middle of the week, when do you ever have a weekend?
Oh man. No. I think the weekend when I end.
Okay. So basically the weekend and life's end it corresponds.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So the ball keeps rolling.
So how are things down under?
Yeah, well, man, there is a lot of things that I can actually talk about, but wasn't expecting to jump on a call like in this format though. So
oh, yeah, I know.
It depends on the situation. Maybe I should share it now or should not share it now. But there's a lot of things that just slam dunked me over the week. So
okay.
I knew it was coming. So it's quite challenging, but there are a lot of things that's actually happening within the company, my company as well. So it's interesting. I would like to share it with you. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to share it now, but
well, we can.
Yeah.
I think what I wanted to try was just because I was just at the gym and it's Friday, and I was thinking about some stuff that I learned this week. And then I thought, I'd really like to talk to Tree about it for some reason. But I mean, you and I like to talk about lots of stuff. And I thought that's an interesting format. And I thought we could at least, just for a few minutes, share like one thing that we both learned this week about anything and kind of discuss that. And I think that's a really good format. I know I like listening to what other people have learned, because it's relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. So I do have something that's very interesting to share.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because it falls within your category in a way. So
you mean handsome, charming, all those things? Is that the category you're talking about?
No, not
okay.
really. I think, but it's that. I mean, if you're talking about yourself, then that is true. Yes, you're on the handsome side.
At least handsome, but not charming. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the charms. No worries.
Yeah, I don't know about the charm. You got the charm and I got the looks. That sounds like an 80s song. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got the charm. I've got the looks. Let's make lots of money. All right. So go for it. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, that's okay. So, man, really interesting to share with you. But I accidentally jumped into a coaching gig.
A coaching gig?
Yeah. So
like how, wait a minute. So you're coaching or you're being coached?
No, I am coaching. That's the.
You are doing the coaching. Okay. Tell me about that.
I am doing the coaching. Yeah. So,
all right.
And so, I do a lot of businesses and I create businesses all the time. I fail a lot of businesses. So I know a lot of ins and outs of creating a business.
Right.
And how to, avoid and prevent certain obstacles that you should not, it shouldn't be there to begin with.
Okay.
So basically I was communicating with this guy that I knew for a very long time. he's actually my coffee guy. I see him like every day in a way.
My coffee guy. So
yeah, he's my coffee guy. It's like
I got my chiropractor. I got
exactly. I got my trainer. I got my coffee guy.
Got my coffee guy.
I got this. Yeah, he's not a coffee boy. He's a coffee guy. So.
Well, you want a grown up for your coffee. I mean, you don't want just any person. Yeah. All right.
And I see him every day, and we were talking about like business, how things are going, and then he was explaining to me that he was investing in like stocks, which everyone is investing in stocks now due to COVID.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was asking, how's it going? He goes, oh man, I've lost 50% of my stock. I'm like, oh
wow,
shit, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like and I was like, how much did you invest in? He goes, yeah, a fair chunk. And I was like, okay, well, you could have used that for like creating a business, which we spoke about like many years ago, because I've been knowing this guy for a very long time.
Right.
We did talk about business, and we did talk about creating business for him. Like he was thinking about creating like an online store or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool, sure. Let's do something one day. He was like, yeah, sure. Many years later, we still haven't done anything. And just because this shares thing popped up and the amount of loss that he has made, I was saying that you could have used, that chunk of money to just invest or to build your own business and see it grow organically if you wanted to, you know. So he was like, okay, cool. I want to know more. Let's really do it. And I was like, are you serious? It's like, I was only just saying, like when when you're talking to the coffee guy, you have these small talks, and I know you don't know if things are going to pan through.
Right.
So, and so basically he was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. And I was like, all right, let's organize a meetup. And since I was doing these meetups, the first one was free because I didn't know that I was meant to be charging at that time, because I thought it was just a friendly, hang out, have a beer, have a drink or whatever, and like just throw a few tips and that's it. But it got really serious, so I was like, no, my time is very precious. I got a family. I got like my team to look after. Everyone needs my time. So whoever's taking my time away, I need to, charge them. So I was like, what I'll do is I'll come up with like a monthly plan for you. We need to sit down and talk about it. I need to give you some advice, professional advice on how to build this business. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, an hour a week, and this is how it is, and here's a package, and go from there. He's like, cool, great. And I was like, all right, I think this is a coaching thing, so let's put it as a coaching thing. And it's interesting because I was I got another note in terms of coaching somewhere else that they were asking to mentor these students. And when I hear the word mentor, it means free. Coaching is the same thing, but paid. So,
I see. Well,
it's this all happened this week. So it's great to actually share this with you.
Yeah, because when you were describing it, it sounded like more mentorship, actually, paid mentorship than what is like in the coaching world now, like executive coaching, leadership coaching, that kind of stuff. You're not really telling someone how to do it. You're kind of helping them improve their thinking by asking questions. But what you're describing is kind of a mixture of consulting and mentorship and some coaching, probably is what I'm hearing.
That's right. So well, for me, I don't know what like pure coaching is, but I know that it will lead towards your sort of like expertise. And I know this because I've learned so much within the business and your business, and I know so much about that as well. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to mix it. I'm going to freestyle. I'm going to call it coaching because technically it is. It's not. I'm not giving them the plan or anything, but
he's doing the plan.
Okay, he's doing the plan. I'm giving them the like, okay, kind of switching the mindset for him in a way. Just like, okay, this is how it is. But on top of that, it's like an additional service that I'm providing as well, which is creating the business plan, which is outside the coaching
that would
sessions
be
that I'm providing.
Right?
So that would be consulting. So it's a mix of everything. It's all like it's bundling up. That's
tree. To keep with the theme, then, because this is fantastic. This sounds like a very interesting and unexpected turn of events. What did you learn about yourself through this process?
Oh wow, that's a very good question as well because I knew that I love teaching in general,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that um, I thought at the time I wasn't ready to teach anyone something. Only
Really?
because I was, yeah, it's just the way, it's just the nature of who I am. I love teaching, but I wasn't ready to teach as a career, as in teaching to get paid basically.
Oh,
And that struck me quite a fair bit because I knew that when the time comes, it will just come, like it will just all rush in.
yeah.
And this is only one part of like that has happened this week, as well as another thing that popped up on my LinkedIn, that like there's a Vietnamese community
Mm-hmm.
that asked me that they wanted me to mentor like 100 students on how to become a better graphic designer or in the graphic design world. And they're running a competition, so they want to have like three mentors. I'm part of the creative side of the actual program itself,
Wow.
and they asked me, and at the time I was like, this sounds like a lot of work. So
Well, it
I was
could
like,
be.
I'm
It
and it could
depends
be a
on you.
pro.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's like it could be a pro bono work as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had to like scope it out, and I wanted to know what was going on. And I loved teaching. I wanted to help design community. One stage would be in my local hometown with
Right.
all the like helping kids that are in my industry and struggling because you know an Asian Australian,
Mm.
uh, it's actually quite difficult to actually step up the ladder to become a creative person and really get very known. And I know that because I struggled through that. So I
Yeah.
always wanted to, help people. So I thought this was a good opportunity, but at the same time, I needed to know if I was going to commit due to the workload. So
Well, it's easy to take on too much. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so but it turned
Wow.
out well. It seems like it was only like a 2 day session. One's a workshop, the other one's
Hmm.
just attending to a ceremony, and I think there was a third one was an online thing for like a half an hour or something. So I was like, okay, cool, that sounds good. I can take it on. So um, yeah, that
Are there
what
any?
I discovered. Yeah, so
Were there any other Asian Australians in the course?
I believe so. I think the other two mentors are actually Asian Australian as well, so all Vietnamese. So this is based on the
Oh
Vietnamese
wow.
community.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
yeah,
That's cool. So it's like, even notwithstanding that opportunity, it's a great opportunity, but then added on top of that, it sounds like it's pretty meaningful to you because of your own background and experience and perspective as an Asian Australian and a designer, and facing the challenges that you went through earlier on in your career with that.
yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Mm,
Huh.
that's my story.
And that's just a
So,
little, that's just a scratching the surface of your week, it sounds like.
yeah, it is because yeah,
Okay.
there's other things as well. There are other things
All
that
right. Well, we'll
that
get to
really
those,
popped in. But
the real juicy. Sorry to it's for other people, but we'll get to those juicy details offline. But okay. So what a power packed week. I
how about
was.
you, Matt?
Is it my turn? Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. um, I learned a ton this week, but the one thing that I was going to talk about was, so we did. And now I'm thinking about it, like, was it even this week? It might have been last week, but I'm going to fold it. It was a continuing learning. So we did this, we did a webinar around the coaching in the US and in the New York area. And I mean, it had people from outside of New York, but it was kind of targeted to the New York kind of audience and New York City area. And it was for coaches. And the whole theme was about relationship coaching.
Mhm.
And I just continue to, I don't know why I'm surprised by this, but we literally had someone come in the webinar. I think they were late, but the relationship was in the name of the it was in the name of the event. It was called Coaching for Relationships. Something like that. And so we were talking about how, the relationships people have at work, like, they're really determinative of success ultimately. In fact, when you think about the quote unquote competencies of leadership, it's really mostly about, how people are relating to one another. That's what most of, not everything, but so much of it in terms of what determines success or failure it comes down to something related very directly or very closely, indirectly to relationships. And someone came in and literally asked, they were looking at the tools that we use, and we were talking about coaching, and they said, can you use this in relationships? And at first I wanted to laugh, and inside I was quite judgmental, like going, you idiot, it's in the freaking title.
Yeah.
What the hell? Wake the hell up. What is this about? You're a coach and you have no presence. But then I thought about it and I was like, it may not have been that at all. And actually it's not an uncommon perspective, because they weren't looking at the title by this point. They were looking at what we do, which is we help people have a very vulnerable conversation. And so what that triggers is this sense that, oh, this is about like a real human relationship. And therefore it's not in the bucket of work, that somehow work, interactions are not synonymous with relationships. And I just, I don't know why, like that just has never made sense to me. It still doesn't. I don't think it ever will. I mean, I have a relationship with my dry cleaner, the woman I go in, I take my dry cleaning in, the way that I treat her, the way I talk to her, the way she talks to me is determinative of a few minutes out of my day that are like meaningful or not. She sees me out in the street. When I'm walking down the street, she waves. There's a relationship. It's not a close one, but we have we have relations in that sense, in the very platonic sense. And, but people are still separating out work from personal that way. And, I really want to change that. I mean, I really want to get the word relationship rehabilitated. Because I think it's robbing some people of a perspective about what their opportunity is, wherever they go, work or anywhere other domain. And I have a feeling that the pandemic has broken down some of those barriers even more. But it just made me want to double up my efforts to sort of redefine it, because there's still that thinking. And I think it's kind of, I wouldn't want to say it's harmful, but I think it's very limiting. That's the way the world we came up in, that we kind of came up in this world of like business versus personal, and that they're separate. And that if it's business, you can kind of get away with doing whatever because it's not personal, and therefore I can treat you consistent with what's good for the business. But I don't think that's a model that's very sustainable. I think it's win-lose, which means it's ultimately lose-lose.
You're right, because, it's really interesting that a lot of people do put themselves into two positions. One of them is trying to be professional and in business sense, and the other one is a personal. And then, they cause some sort of barrier that the two things cannot communicate to each other during the workplace, and right. that seems like it becomes not transparent. It becomes really blinded and really straightforward in terms of things are always like A, B, C rather than it's really hard to explain it, but then everything is always like just black and white, and there's no gray, whereas we know that there are gray areas, and it should be shown within the whole entire relationship. Right. And because the best example is, when you work with a person within the team or a work colleague, and they have this professional vibe or like a business vibe that you communicate with them like throughout the whole entire week or year, months, whatever, like for the whole entire journey of their career, until one day they say, okay, I'm out, I found a different career. I found a different job, a different position, and I'm going. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't tell like tell the the colleague why. They just said, oh, I just go because that's it. Like
Right.
I found a better position. I found more money. I found you
Right.
know
Right.
I feel like I want like a different environment, and that's it. And they're like, well, I didn't know that you wanted to leave. Like that's
Yeah.
when
No
the
idea.
other
It was like,
colleagues like yeah,
yeah,
no idea.
completely
Like
in the
it's just like
blind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
the issue because you don't you thought you had a relationship with your colleague or like your employee, but you
Mm-hmm.
didn't because that relationship was just something a work relationship, not a personal relationship. So
Yeah.
there is no like you know in betweens or anything, and that's bad. I think that's unhealthy moving forward with everything that's happening right now as well.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's a sign of a lack of open dialogue that you're I heard the phrase open door policy. Somebody said in this workshop the other day talking about, well,
Mm,
we have an open door policy. I said, well, what does that mean? And what is
mm,
and how does that come across to one person versus another? You can say you've got an open door policy all day long, but that doesn't mean that everybody else feels like you got an open door policy. I mean, it's so subjective. So I think one sign of that you're not doing something right, and I put myself in this category too, is if I'm getting surprised by information like that, then I've missed the boat somehow. I have a responsibility for that. So
hmm
that's on me, at least
yeah,
partially. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
All right.
well,
Well, that's
yeah,
interesting.
well, I
Yeah. 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 So sorry, I didn't. So just to put a bow on that one for me, I don't know what else you got on it, but I just feel like I feel even more absolutely committed to writing on this and thinking about it and helping to reframe the word relationships or relationship, particularly in the workplace.
mm,
So yeah, I gotta do that
I
because otherwise we're gonna continue to have this weird false belief that you know that
yep.
you don't have that relationships at work sounds like something that'll get you fired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
That's
it's
right.
only
Yeah.
that. It's like, no, no, no. You have a relationship with a janitor that you see every day yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Wow. That
all right. Well, so how about this coming week? Any learning opportunities on the horizon?
oh, that's well, there's so many things that has happened this week that I'll need to move forward for next week as well. And
Yeah.
what is happening right now, there's so many obstacles that I have to go through that everything's all a new thing at this point for me, and it's
Mm-hmm.
exciting. That's the best thing about it
Right.
because when I know that okay, this is like my place that I haven't been before,
Uh huh.
I'll get very excited. I want to learn more about it. I'm willing to make the mistakes. I'm willing to admit that I will make those mistakes because I'm
Right.
ready for it.
Right.
Yeah, and and really just trying to plan out some of the things, but at the same time not plan it. Because if you plan it so hard, you may not, and if you don't fall through with those plans, you'll be disappointed within yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have an open plan where I guess some things can be solid and the other ones can be very flexible, then you know that your mind can run free as much as you want, and that's when you can just get the whole week flowing as fast or as productive as possible.
I think what you're saying is make plans, but don't be so stubborn about them that you miss the boat.
Yes, I
Yeah.
guess. Yep. Now in the head.
I don't know if I'm just paraphrasing back to see if that was about right or if I missed the boat. Because I couldn't agree
Yeah.
more. Sometimes that
Yeah.
you really miss out on an opportunity if you're. I mean, and you're in. I mean, we both do creative things, but you are even more squarely in creative world. And boy, that seems to be really key with any creative endeavor is staying open to the stuff that you can't see now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that and I'm going to take color from that palette and I'm going to put it on my canvas for next week and be basically, I'm going to create a structure, but I'm going to stay open to some really creative stuff happening. And then we'll have to check back in and see how it went.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll keep you posted. Definitely.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Tree.
Thank you.